Welcome back, everybody, to the April edition of Conversations with Archbishop Kurtz. And I'm really pleased to say we have a wonderful guest today, Deacon Scott Hayner. Deacon Scott, thank you so much for being here for this segment.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Listen, just to tell people a little bit, you and your wife, Joanne, are parishioners, and you're active, obviously, at St. Patrick Church. You have 2 adult children. And, of course, you're super involved with Catholic Charities of Louisville. Not only on the board, but you're currently serving as the chair of the board. So you're one busy man. Thank you, Scott. We want to talk in this segment about Catholic Charities and some of the new and exciting things happening. But let's just for a moment, tell us a little bit about how the Lord called you to be a deacon, your journey.
Sure. Well, I'm thrilled to be here. I was born in Louisville and went to Catholic schools. I went off to Purdue University, and that's where I met Joanne, my wife. For about 10 years after college, we lived outside of Louisville. Oh. But in 1989, it was time to come home. And when we did come home, my cousin said there's this exciting new parish in the east end of Louisville. It's called St. Patrick.
Oh, so you were there at the very beginnings, you and Joanne.
Just a little after they started.
How about that?
And when we got there, for the last 30 years, that community has been a real blessing to our marriage and our family.
Wow. Where's Joanne from?
Joanne's from West Lafayette, Indiana.
So she's really the doorstep of
So we came down here, and we're involved in most every major activity going on at St. Patrick's over a long period of time. But early on in that journey, the founding pastor, the late Father Jack Schindler, said to me, "Scott, would you ever consider being a deacon?" At the time, my daughters were very young and still at St. Patrick Catholic School, and I said, "We got way too much going on. I just don't think the timing is right." But he must have planted the seed, because after the girls moved on to other schools, we got into formation, and as you...
So there was a little bit of a gap. Father Jack asked you, the Lord worked on you, and then it was a few years later.
And it was like, okay, it's a little life planning.
Right.
Okay, the girls are now moving on. They're in high school. They're getting ready to go to college. You know, how might life unfold?
Right.
And we decided to go into formation, and I was ordained in 2008. As you know, deacons do a lot of things in the parish, and I try to live up to that high standard. Most of the work that I do is in either the worship ministries or in organizing the social ministry.
Well, I know how involved you are, and I think it's important for people to know, because we're in the process now of beginning a brand new class of formation for deacons, to know that sometimes you hear something and it works on you, the Lord works, and later you're able to say yes, so thank you. Now, you've gotten super involved in Catholic Charities, and you've really been a great gift. Tell us a little bit about not just the involvement of Catholic Charities, but the campaign, Building a Brighter Future. Tell us about that.
Sure. Well, Catholic Charities has been reaching out to those in most need in the Archdiocese for over 75 years.
Sure.
And traditionally, for much of that time, we've sort of based our operations in repurposed buildings, old schools and churches and convents. But lately, the age and the condition of those buildings is getting in the way of us doing the good work that we're called to do. We spend a lot of money on repairs and maintenance, and our utility costs are higher because these buildings in some cases are over 100 years old.
Right.
And even to the tune of about $100,000 a year that we spend to upkeep on these buildings. We have buildings that aren't ADA compliant, and that limits the ability of both clients and volunteers to work and to do what we try to do.
So, of course, we're focused on the buildings because we want to serve others.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of a hub. What kind of work is Catholic Charities doing from those buildings?
Well, we certainly, there's kind of a number of areas we work on. We do a lot of family support work, and we started back in the orphanage business and in the adoption business, but today we do mother-infant care. We work with, trying to talk about human trafficking and identifying where people are survivors there and try to get them back to a better life. We do work with senior citizens and as we work with senior citizens' homes and try to be an advocate for senior citizens in those
refugees
cases.
And
we certainly do work resettling refugees,
right.
And we do a lot of work trying to empower people, help them to find a better life, be better job training, and use their language abilities to language services, ways that they can take their lives and provide better for themselves and for their families.
You know, a few months ago, I remember actually being at the Archdiocesan Pastoral Center with people who were involved in serving, whether it be Vincent de Paul or other groups on parish groups that gathered, and I see that there's really an effort being made that Catholic Charities might be a support to groups and might gather together so that the presence of Catholic Charities is virtually in every county of the Archdiocese. That's important.
Absolutely, and I think our goal is to build a Catholic Charities Center that can be a gathering place, can be a beacon for charitable works in the Archdiocese. It would be on the campus of the Holy Name Parish on 4th Street. It would give us the ability to have better staff collaboration and efficiency. It gives us the ability to have handicapped accessible meeting rooms and bathrooms, things we've needed for a long time. It gives us a chance to expand or maximize our current programs, and that's with, we have the ability to have better child care. When you're doing family service work, you got to have good child care for the moms to bring their kids. Then it also gives us a chance to have, better security, well lit in a place where you can, where people can come and want to be there for the various classes that we might have. All of those things, can come to life in this new center, a center that we think can be not only set the stage for Catholic charitable works for the next century, but also make a bold statement for not only the importance of those works, but also our local church's leadership in that area.
That's excellent. And in many ways, I know with our Catholic Services Appeal, when I go to parishes, people say, we want to help our own parish, but out of love for Christ, we want to help others. And this really is a very specific way in which the average Catholic, actually the average citizen, can actually be a part of the work of Catholic Charities by helping with this campaign that's going to make Catholic Charities and our services present throughout, as you said, for decades to come. That's
Absolutely.
Impressive.
We're not going to get out of the charity business.
So what's the timetable? Here we are in April. What is being thought of?
We've been working on this campaign for nearly a year.
Okay.
And the quiet phase of the campaign will wrap up in the next few weeks. Starting in May, the public phase starts, and it'll run through the summer. And then our hope is we will be finished with our fundraising in August, so that hopefully towards the end of the year we can start working on plans and maybe even be under construction by the end of this year.
Wow, wonderful. And so people will be literally next month perhaps hearing more about this exciting opportunity for Catholic Charities. I'm not sure we've ever done this in the history of the Archdiocese. And so it's a wonderful venture. And to be known for Catholic Charities, I think I served as a priest before becoming a bishop for about 24 years in Catholic Charities. So it's dear to my heart. We want to talk about how someone can become involved in this, but what motivates you, Deacon Scott? What motivates you to give your heart and soul to this work of charity?
Well, as I look at it and I look at the Gospels and things like that, one that has always resonated with me is Matthew 25, where Christ says, "What you do for the least ones, the ones that are in most need."
Yeah. When did I see you hungry? Huh?
And the fact is, he tells us if we want to find him, we can find him in those on the margins.
Yeah.
And certainly Pope Francis echoes that in so many things that he says. Through the work that I do at St. Vincent de Paul and the work I do at Catholic Charities, it gives me a chance to in some small way to let God work through me and reach out to those people.
Yeah, it's you're saying that, I think to myself of the witness of the church in serving others, that perhaps of the things that we're most known for really in the life of the church over the decades, over the centuries, has been our service to the least of our brothers and sisters, huh? And that ability to be able to partner and be part of that is important. So the average person, you said you had a silent phase for this campaign. Will there now be an opportunity for people to donate themselves?
Certainly. And I think we say, our goal is to have key presentations to key groups in the Archdiocese. We'll have things on our website. We'll keep the record apprised of all the key events. And then we encourage people to stay connected with their parishes, because when they stay connected with their parishes, that's where most people get most of their information. So how might a parishioner get involved? First, we ask for them to pray for us so that the Holy Spirit will be with us and that we can do the right thing as part of this campaign. And secondly, we ask people talk up the work of Catholic Charities to the people they know. So many times we go out and people might know one little thing. Maybe they've been to a Rice Bowl luncheon, or maybe they've done a little refugee something. But when we tell them all the work we do, they go, wow, I didn't know you were doing all that stuff.
So people will begin to hear things that maybe they never even knew.
And once they tell their friends, you know, they can assure their friends that the local church is out, you know, supporting the dignity and the worth of people, bringing God's love to the streets every single day. Because the more people know, the more they care.
Excellent.
And the more they care, the more they'll get engaged.
Deacon Scott, thank you. Building a Brighter Future, the work of Catholic Charities. Thank you for being a leader in Catholic Charities for the Archdiocese, and thanks for presenting today. Thank you all for paying attention to this important work of the Church. It's an important work that you're doing. And so we appreciate your being here for Conversations with Archbishop Kurtz, and we hope that you'll stay tuned for the final segment.